Welcome into the Casual Observer. Today we have the Western Conference Power Rankings, 15-1. Heard the feedback from the Eastern Conference predictions, and look, having Celtics at 5 instead of 1 seemed to piss a few people off, but these are my opinions. Can't wait to be right. No, as I said, it's power rankings are a little different to regular season standings. I think we may have taken where I place these teams in terms of their records after 82 games. I'm trying to factor in the other 16 wins you need to win the championship. So, yeah, Knicks, Sixers, Pacers, Pistons, Celtics, Cavs, top 6 seems right to me. Western Conference. This is a hard one because as you're doing this little exercise, you realise just how shit the Western Conference has gotten. Look, let's start. There's 4 tiers. Tier 4 basically is the no chances. So number 15 is the Sacramento Kings. No chance in hell of winning or doing anything. Their only hope is Darius Acuff Jr., who was drafted, 7th this year? Didn't play great in Summer League. Definitely. Look, Russell Westbrook is gone. DeMar DeRozan's gone. Domantas Sabonis is the only one left. That Light the Beam team is gone. They moved off of Devin Carter. I don't know where they're heading right now. I don't think anyone knows where they're heading. I don't think the people in charge even know where they're heading. So, look, I love Darius Acuff, but I don't love him enough to put him any higher than 15th. As much as this conference is kind of top heavy, I don't think they've still got enough to get past anyone. So I think the best that they can hope for this season is basically trying to get out of the relegation zone, which is the bottom 3 in overall odds. But who are you beating? The Pelicans, the Nets, the Bucks, Hornets, Wizards, Bulls, I don't know. I kind of like most of those teams over the Sacramento Kings. So, 15th. Don't really want to talk about them. I think they have their own pick this year, which is the only shining light. They are, Maxime Reynaud, Nate Clifford, Keegan Murray, and now Darius Acuff. Really your only hopes. Other than that, it's what can you get for Sabonis? That's it. You are the trash pandas of the NBA. Poorly run. Doug Christie's not a great coach. There's a lot going on here. So, number 15, I would put them lower if I could, but there's only 15 spots. So, I'd even have an expansion team ahead of these guys. 14, New Orleans Pelicans basically did sweet nothing this offseason. The only thing they did poorly. They signed DeAndre Jordan back to a 2-year deal, but it wasn't the minimum. Therefore, the league will not be subsidizing some of his salary, and it counts further against the cap for them. So the things they did, they couldn't even get right. So Joe DeMar's pretty terrible GM. I think we've proven that over time, and somehow still has a job, which is really upsetting to the rest of us that have to work for a living, and you've got this guy just getting free money. Incredible. Look, Zion had his healthiest season last year, and they finished, with the giving Atlanta the 8th pick overall in the draft. So, even with a healthy Zion, they couldn't get anywhere. Trey Murphy got better, but isn't really worth 4 first-round picks, which is what they're demanding. Herb Jones injured again. Deontay Murray hurt again, but actually brought some sort of, they kind of actually had some level of playmaking and respectability when he was actually on the court. But other than that, holy shit, they were bad. Yves Missi, they just don't have much to be happy about. A teardown is definitely what they have. Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears played well as rookies, but I don't know. Look, that trade looks a lot better with Atlanta now that they only gave away Kingston Flemings for it. If you get Derek Queen for Kingston Flemings and Asa Newell, I think you're kind of happy with that. So that trade looks fine, but again, the process of making that trade last year was still just so negligible, which is really sad. So yeah, they're number 14 with a bullet. Those are definitely the two bottom teams in this conference, the Kings and the Pelicans. And I would say that, yeah, if your franchise is pinning its hopes on Trey Murphy and Zion Williamson, you are really basically hoping for the number one pick in this year's draft, Tyron Stokes. So, yeah, not much to talk about there apart from, yeah, just how incompetent those two franchises are and the fact that they like the Magic on the other side where they just won't make a change because they believe in their squad is, yeah, incredibly bad. Number 13, the Los Angeles Clippers. As long as the Kawhi trade goes through, they are also kind of trash. If they re-sign Benedict Mathurin, that's someone off the bench. You don't have Zubats, you don't have Harden, won't have Kawhi. Basically, you have Keaton Wagler, the fifth pick in the draft. You have Darius Garland, a bit injury prone. Rui Hachimura, I'm sure I'm missing some people, but either way, Niederhausen. But I don't know. There's not much on this team to really say you're doing much this year. They missed the playoffs this year, even with a healthy Kawhi for the last, 50-odd games. So, yeah, it's hard to see that the Clippers are going to be doing much, if anything, this year. I don't think they have their own pick either. That's either OKC or the Sixers or something like that. So they're in an awkward spot right now. They do need a little bit of luck in free agency coming up. The move to John Collins, getting rid of Norm Powell 2 years ago was definitely a terrible decision. They got some value at least with this Kawhi trade. Again, should it go through with a couple first round picks. I'm not sure I'm calling Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram any value whatsoever, especially Ingram, $40 million a year for trash. Thank you, sir. Recently saw Dylan Brooks say that, his Mount Rushmore of current small forwards was like, J-Dub, Kawhi Leonard, Cooper Flagg, and Brandon Ingram, who I was like, what the fuck, he's so bad. But obviously people rate him. But yes, the Clippers are going nowhere. Quickly at least. Small little steps have definitely helped. Getting Garland, 10 years younger than Harden, sets you up a little bit. Wagler, definitely, young two guard, that's going to be handy. Little pieces like the first round picks, Rui Hachimura, they're heading in a better direction overall. If you don't overpay for Mathurin, there is definitely, as you move forward into this next phase of Clippers era, there's hope. 12 on the list. The Golden State Warriors. I know, that's probably a few spots lower than most people have them, but hear me out. They scraped past the Clippers in that 9-10 game, which may have been one of the games of the year, to be fair, last year in the play-in. But they're another year older. They did sweet nothing in this offseason. They were hoping to get LeBron or Giannis. They got neither. They got KP back, which is good. Other than that, if you're pinning your hopes on, Yaxel Underberg, I like him, but I don't think you're really going to get that much improvement as a team when your best players are getting older with Draymond and Steph. KP's perpetually injured, and Brandon Pajemski thinks he's Steph Curry, except he's left-handed and shite. So, yeah, I don't know why Steve Kerr's come back. It's just, the Warriors are, wasting and pissing away Steph Curry's golden years, and maybe that's why they're so low on this list, is because you haven't built anything around a 38-year-old that can still be an all-NBA caliber player. So they are 12th on my list. And last of this tier is the Grizzlies at number 11. I think they have a little bit more championship equity. And again, these teams are in the tier of no chance, so take that as what you will. But I think they're going to be a little better than the Warriors this year. They're younger. Cam Boozer, Cedric Howard, if Zach Edey can play, Karim Lopez if he can play. They've got, they got players, Isaiah Stewart. They just need a point guard now. But they have younger players, which is what the regular season's built for. I don't imagine they're going to have many wins. But I think they'll be there night in, night out, and just trying to get better piece by piece. So I think they're going to be a better watch. because I think the Warriors and Steph Curry will be injured half the year. So at least I think the Grizzlies will hold it together and be able to put a team on the floor. And again, with this new lottery system, there's no point being absolute dog shit. So you might see that this team actually doesn't sit players for 30 games of the year. They might actually surprise a few people. They're going to be young, athletic, and they're going to make so many mistakes, but at least they have a solid enough future, and that's why they're 11th on my list. This next tier is you're either up and comers with some of these teams, or basically just holding on to the play-in lifestyle. So this is going to be 7 through 10. So at number 10, Phoenix Suns. Had a great regular season last year, blew past our expectations. I think that's because Jalen Green didn't play too much. Again, not very high on that guy. But Dylan Brooks was amazing. Devin Booker was solid. Other than that, they scraped by with just some vet play and a bit of magic from, Colin Gillespie and Grayson Allen, which says enough. This year they're going to have another year in Malawak, and they're going to have Miles Bridges, which again they overpaid for, but at least at the end of the day, it's a competent player. Other than that, it's basically the same team. So I think with the Suns, it's everyone else is getting better around them. There's no incentive to lose. They're not going to get any free wins basically, and hence why I think they finished 7th last year, and then lost in the play-in, so ended up playing OKC first round, got swept. I think that's their ceiling. I think 10th is about where they can finish in these odds. Unless Devin Booker explodes and becomes an MVP candidate, or Jalen Green somehow becomes, actually empowering to his teammates. There's only so much grit and grind Dylan Brooks can provide that'll boost everyone else. So to me, it's Devin Booker and Malawak or bust. And I don't see them improving that much. So, number 10 for the Phoenix Suns. Number 9, the Portland Trailblazers. Took on the Spurs in the first round. Took them to 5, which is, again, not that impressive. But made it back to the playoffs, which is great. They get Dame Lillard back this year. They traded for Ja Morant, which makes just no sense when you've already got Dame Lillard and Scoot Henderson. But Denny Avdia is a huge piece, Donovan Clingan, and so they have stuff. What you want to do with that stuff, who knows? I'm not going to count Young Hansen as a piece just yet, but they are, apart from, on the court improvement, their front office has taken a bit of a hit with this new owner, who looks like he wants to get them out of Portland and into, say, Nashville or Vegas or, heck, Dallas. I don't know, but so with all that turmoil, I don't think their roster makes a ton of sense. Dame Lillard's another year older, coming off an Achilles. Who knows what he's going to provide. Scoot Henderson hasn't evolved. Ja Morant's a mess right now. So basically Donovan Clingan and Denny Avdia and maybe Tamari Kamara or bust. They don't have that upside of some of these other teams. So they're with all that turmoil going on and off the court, I'm going to say number 9 is more than fair. Heck, Phoenix fans could probably be a little miffed by that one. Number 8, the Dallas Mavericks. Yep. I think with Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving, if Derek Lively can stay healthy, they've still got PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. They've got enough around them where, I thought they needed Brandon Burries. They didn't get Brandon Burries. But, they got these players that at least have high upside to them, if healthy. Obviously, Kyrie Irving's coming off an ACL. So, take what you will from that, but at least they have that upside of Cooper Flag is just a second year in, getting better every day. And if he's, actually explodes and takes a step forward, Kyrie Irving comes back and takes some of that scoring burden from him. Derek Lively is just another year older, stronger. I don't see why they couldn't at least push for that 8th seed and take on OKC in the first round. But I think there's a lot there that would provide some very entertaining basketball there. There's the pieces there. You've got Cooper Flagg, the Great White Hope. If we can get him cranking, I don't see why we couldn't see them really make some inroads into this, up these conference standings here. But Perez Johnson and the new coach, lost his name. It'll come back to me at some point. But should be interesting additions. Dusty May, there you go. At the moment, it just seems like they're getting younger. They've got some, they're quite competent around those guys. Kyrie Irving's obviously a ex-All-Star, ex-All-NBA player. So, there's definitely enough there that could make this team quite annoying to play throughout the season. And obviously, as I said, this is the power rankings. If you get them into the playoffs, they're not going to beat OKC or the Spurs, but I think if you get them against anyone else, they're a chance. They're half a chance. That's how good Cooper Flagg is. So they're at number 8. And the last one of this tier is the Utah Jazz. Again, they've been tanking for about 3-4 straight years. It's hard to judge what they're going to do when they actually are trying. And again, there's going to be no easy wins. But in this conference, when you've got the Blazers, Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors, Clippers, Pelicans, and Kings, there's a chance you get some easy wins. You've got a forever injured Nuggets, some like KD on the Rockets. The Wolves have changed. If Luka gets injured on the Lakers, OKC lose SGA for any period of time. There's enough wins in this conference that you can sneak up there. So the Jazz, having got Darren Peterson in this draft, who looks like a stud. You've got Larry Markin and Triple J. You did trade away Kessler Walker. So Yusuf Nurkic is going to be a center, which I don't love. But if Triple J can play a little bit, I think they have size and length and diversity there. So Keontae George coming off his best year, Ace Bailey on the bench. You could see now that they're actually pushing for wins that they could actually really make a bit of a dent into this, instead of finishing 13th, 14th, 15th. I think 7th is fair for them. Again, their season record may not look like it, but they, even players like Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench definitely pack a punch and have a certain role in this league and in this team. So I think 7th, I think we've all forgotten how good Larry Markin is. Triple J, though, he might have one of the worst contracts in the NBA, both of them combined. This might be a short runway for the Jazz money-wise, but they are right now at least positioned to make, some sort of dent into this conference. And look, teams have to move up and down year to year. So the Mavericks and Jazz have moved up, and the Warriors and Clippers have moved down. That's the end of that tier. The second tier is contending, but maybe not championship fit. So this has got 4 teams, 3 through 6. The Nuggets are at number 6. They just traded Peyton Watson to the Cavs, and they got a 2031 pick and a second-round pick. Whoopee. So around the Joker, they have Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, and Aaron Gordon, and off the bench they have no one. Absolute trash. I think it's like Tyus Jones, Julian Strawther, maybe Bruce Brown, like Zeke Naji and De'Aaron Holmes. Like, that's not a bench. That's trash. So, the money that they've invested into Brown and Johnson and Gordon was great. It made sense a year ago. Now makes no sense in the world. They've had to sacrifice Peyton Watson and other role players. Yep. I think 6 is generous for them. That's purely on how good Nikola Jokic has been. So if he has any sort of drop-off, they will not be 6, that's for sure. So they've definitely taken a few steps backwards since their championship run. There's not much else to say unless they do something to add to their depth because, Cam Johnson couldn't have a worse year than last year. Aaron Gordon, I guess, could be a lot healthier, but is unlikely to be. Jamal Murray had a great year. Unlikely that's going to happen again. So you're really banking it all on, can Nikola Jokic carry you regular season and postseason? And I say no. But you've got to respect the former MVP. So they're at 6. Hope this isn't the end of the Joker's run, but it's not looking good when you have one good player. Number 5, the Wolves. I know they've changed their team a bit. Obviously, no Julius Randle, no Naz Reid, but they have LaMelo Ball, who, from all accounts and off-season workouts, looks like he's in the gym with Anthony Edwards, building chemistry, taking it seriously, not just trying to play basketball as if he's impressing every girl in the world. Ant. Look, I don't think Ant's... he impacts winning, don't get me wrong, but he seems to be missing that thing that makes other teammates better. And so I'd like to see that improve, whether that's playmaking one game or, off ball or, whatever he needs to do. But right now, there's just something missing in his game that's elevating those around him. Whether that's getting the ball out of his hands and letting LaMelo Ball, we'll find out over the season. But right now, there's some serious intrigue into that team. And as long as LaMelo stays healthy and they figure out who can play the 4 position, with Ayo Dosunmu and Jade McDaniels and Rudy Gobert, there's enough there. They've got people like Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon Jr., Johan Berenger. There's enough there to keep some hope that the Wolves can develop those players and they can fill the gaps for the cheap and be young enough and sprightly enough to dominate the regular season and get a good matchup in the postseason. But yeah, really, to me, comes down to who plays the 4. Can Jaden McDaniels to continue to get better? And how does Ant and LaMelo Ball work? Number 4, Houston Rockets. Basically the same team as last year. Fred VanVleet comes back, so they have a proper point guard. Certainly won't be exhausted. He's had a full year off. KD's another year older. Amen Thompson, obviously just not developing a jump shot. Alperen Şengün also apparently not developing a jump shot. So they have their questions, but I think they'll be pretty decent through the regular season. To get Fred VanVleet back, another year into Reed Shepherd, Thompson, Tari Eason, can only be good for them. They really need to figure out basically just simple lineups, because you can't have Şengün, Eason, and Thompson all on the floor. 3 non-shooters in this league is just a non-starter. The fact you lost to the Luka-less, Austin Reeves-less Lakers in the first round is just so sad. There's just not enough there to make me think that they're a real contender. But if they can somehow piece together, Fred VanVleet, KD, obviously if Jabari's there, he's obviously a knockdown shooter. He just needs to switch on a bit more on defense. If Reed Shepherd could take a step forward, if Amen Thompson can just get that 10% better, there's enough there to think that they can genuinely take on the best teams for the championship. But at their worst, they are a bit off the pace. So this is where this conference is really lacking, is championship contenders. There's really only 2. At number 3, the Los Angeles Lakers. Look, on the upside, it's fully Luka's team now. There's no confusion. It's Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, Kessler Walker. It's the whitest team in basketball, for real. Jake LaRavia's still there. There's a lot of white boys on this team, which is, we'll see if it works. But Luka Doncic, if he's healthy, perennial MVP candidate. But as I said, there's definitely... I think that mindset of being, it's his team, it's Austin Reeves as the second man, and Kessler Walker's, in the best position he's ever going to be in. The upsides there, I just don't think there's enough, off the bench. You still got Vando, but now you've got Mamu, you've got Sexton, you've got Grimes. Who's starting at the 1, 2, and the 5. Don't really know after losing Rui Hachimura who's starting at the 3 and the 4. So you lost LeBron, you lost Rui. You can see a bunch of different lineups, but if it is Grimes at the 3 and Mamu at the 4, Oh, that is a very white lineup. So the upside's there for the Lakers. Again, if you got Luka, just like the Nuggets, if they've got Jokic, you're in contention. But yeah, there's plenty of questions with the Lakers. So they're basically at 3 because they're the best of the bad bunch. There's not much to pick here in this conference. So when you got those teams, you got the pairing of Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. That's the best of a bad situation. And the best tier, the first tier, whatever you want to call it, is basically your proper championship contenders. It's just the 1 and 2 spots. We can all guess who it is. Number 2 is the Spurs. Have them at 2 just because I respect the fact that OKC do have, and I'm assuming health, but J-Dub, SGA, and Chet are a pretty formidable partnership along with AJ Mitchell, Kaysen Wallace, those kind of players, Isaiah Hartenstein. So I respect OKC enough to still have them at 1. Basically, I think they beat the Spurs and give the Knicks a good run for their money if Chet shows up and J-Dub's not injured. So if SGA has any help of any sort, they almost certainly get past the Spurs. Though the Spurs will be better this year. The Spurs' biggest off-season signing was really Tobias Harris. So take that what you will. He's not my favourite player. He'll help them in the regular season, postseason. I don't know. He helped the Pistons a little bit, but did fade. I'd like to see them sink more minutes into Carter Bryant, but right now it's basically just going to be the return of De'Aaron Fox. What can he do? I don't think he'll be as bad as he was in the postseason. He can't be, actually. He shot so poorly. I think it was 28% on threes. But yeah, another year for Castle, Harper, and Victor. You got Wemby. You're definitely a championship contender. But yes, I think they're maybe a year or 2 away from really piecing this thing together, figuring out what's going to happen with De'Aaron Fox. Is Carter Bryant anyone that's actually going to help you win? Or is he just a role player? So I think Tobias Harris is a good stopgap for the moment. Other than that, Julian Champagnie got a raise, but I thought that was amazing value on his contract. What was it, 3 for 51? So yeah, big time for the Spurs. Number 1, OKC. Basically just it's SGA or broke. Is J-Dub healthy? What's their contract situation going to be like in the off-season? Did get rid of Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe. Extended to Hartenstein. Other than that, just duck the second apron, which gives them a longer runway. So the roadmap's there, but they can't pay everyone. They've got more picks on the way. Adeyemara looks awesome. Well, looked awesome. Didn't look great in Summer League. Sturts didn't look great in Summer League. So Carlson didn't look great in Summer League. So, they've got all these picks. At the moment, doesn't seem to be amounting to much. You've got Topic, who's coming back from some serious health concerns. He's a first-round pick that hasn't really played. Sorba didn't play. He redshirted. So you've got 5 first-round picks there that don't look great so far, and you just got rid of 3 pretty essential role players last year. So, they're no guarantee to be the number 1, but they're definitely guaranteed to be a championship contender. So, it's pretty easy number 1 and 2 there, and the rest of the conference is a mess. So I can see why people are finally putting some respect on the Eastern Conference. Having done this exercise, there's a lot of proper contenders, game-to-game players on the East. On the West, you've got 2 certainties and then a bunch of, month to month, it could look very different. So I dare say to be a bit like this year for the Rockets, who were sitting at 2nd at one point, then 8th at another, and then finished at 5th. So these standings on this western side are going to flip and flop like crazy throughout this year. But we'll post this on socials. Give us your thoughts. But at the moment, it's OKC's and the Spurs to lose. So I'd be shocked if there's any difference outside the top 6 than we had last year. So we'll let you know when the next podcast will be, either a week or 2. But until then, follow us on socials, give us your thoughts. Until then, bye for now.